Let's continue with the demand for innovation and the demand for growth, economic growth. Last time I said that this time I'm going to repeat it that for the mature economy, for mature market, the demand for innovation is pretty much determined by the size and the willingness and the capability of first movers or early adopters. If they want innovation, and they usually actually will push it, and then the other people will be following. At least the innovative product service won't die right away because we have some people willing to buy it. But when it comes to countries like China, a developing country or emerging economy, whatever you call it, the story is different. Here, the state plays a very important role. This is what I'm saying that one of the six difference that China makes. I call China as a game changer because that's number one game changer. It comes from the role of state. I have to add to that, lately kind of motivated by Chinese success, other countries like the U.S. and the U.K., the EU countries, they actually try to, you know, follow the China's playbook a little bit, at least to a certain extent, and try to emphasize the state role. But the starter of the game is China, no question about it. Here I want to say two things: how the state plays a important role in demand for innovation. Number one is from the backside. That's basically that Chairman Mao, under Chairman Mao's leadership. Did you know that China was the 11th poorest country in the world? Meaning that only other 10 countries are poorer in terms of per capita GDP than China. And then China is right there. It's not the poorest, but it's one of the poorest, no questions about it. So Chairman Mao is busy. He had a disaster in Great Leap Forward, and he thought that he can develop the economy, grow the economy just like the war. He won a lot of wars, like fighting mostly the nationalist regime, right? He claimed that he also fight Japanese, but to a lesser extent, because the nationalist is the one really fight pretty strongly against the Japanese invasions. Okay, Chiang Kai-shek actually is really he deserved the title of a national hero when it comes to defeat the Japanese. I mean, not alone by China. By alone, if it's China alone, probably we'll never see Japanese getting out of China. But mostly by the U.S. and then in other countries. But anyway, so after Mao took power in 1949, he has been busy trying to make the country rich, as in a battlefield. He can mobilize people and organize people, and that's why it ended up disasters. And then after that, he switched his interest. He recognized that he's not a genius in developing the economy. So he said, okay, let's do that, the politics. Let's do the political campaign one after another, basically a power struggle. So the Chinese has been very bad when it comes to having a balanced power distribution. They're very good at fighting each other. So Chairman Mao is one of them. He trying to suppress, purge one political leader after another. But unlike the others, if which is totally everything is like a coup d'état in a state court, Chairman Mao tried to get people into this. So he mobilized people into one political campaign after another, and then in the name of getting rid of the the bad influence from Soviet Union and former Soviet Union, in the name like that. But anyway, so the disaster is a disaster. Uh, China has been when it comes to economy development. Mao basically he's no longer interested in it. That's why it's a bad dictatorship. Is so bad. It's always everything depends on the personal taste, his personal preference, his personal agenda. So the China, so that makes it the one thing that why is that good for China to do economic reform, to do innovation, to growth, because people have been suffering for too long. So the economy is a disaster, so it's a chaos, and the political, and then people are just living from hands to mouth. That's it. So that's one thing that we have to take Chairman Mao, into consideration to fully understand why the demand for innovation, demand for growth, demand for prosperity is so strong after decades of the poor living. Sometimes the living standard is even lower than before the communists took power in 1949. So people are really sick of it. They really want to do it. But the China is such a tradition that they treat Chairman Mao like a grandfather or a great father. You're not supposed to say no to them, but wait for this guy died, and then everything is different. So that's why Deng Xiaoping came to power. He launched the reform and then focused on the economy, and then said something like, the market is not the only belongs to the capitalism. Socialism can do the market. That's why we come out with the socialist market economy. That's kind of a thing. Okay, but so this is one thing. On the other hand, on the other side is that the state plays a very active role in promoting social demand for innovation, for economic growth. That's like after this Deng Xiaoping took power, the Beijing has been having leaders one after another trying to focus just on the economy and forget about it. They try to do the political reform and then found that it's very hard. And then because again, in my theory, we really have to install like micro institutions. Like the U.S., pretty much, you should copy and paste the laws in the U.S. and when it comes to micro institutions, rules and regulations, that China can do a lot, and then that way you have the you have the guardrail to protect the country from getting into one disaster after another politically. So let's stop here. Let's say the number one thing, number one drive, number one game changer for China is the state playing an active role. Let's stop here.